Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Huge news. They just confirmed that they're casting a new Superman actor for Supergirl Season 2. Like a real deal, like someone you will see on screen wearing the suit. If you didn't watch Supergirl Season 1, they did have Superman, but he was blurry, he was off screen, so when he would appear, he wouldn't really appear in the way you would expect him to. So it was kind of a disappointment, but it was generally understood that Superman and Batman are not allowed to appear on the TV shows. So all those Season 1 moments were really like a half measure, like Superman exists in this universe, but don't expect to see him on screen, or interacting with any of the characters in a meaningful way. This is a complete reversal of that. I think it has a lot to do with bringing him into the CW universe and them having such a fully realized group of characters, and what's going on behind the scenes with the movies with Jeff Johns, all the Batman v Superman stuff, Justice League. So I think this is all moving in an awesome direction. And I almost forgot, I know a lot of you are asking, what about Batman? If they can do Superman on the Supergirl TV show, does that mean they can do Batman? Not right now, but I definitely think they will eventually get there. I think Superman physically being on screen at the same time that the movies are happening is a big reversal of the previous policy of no Superman, no Batman. So I think this is them just kind of jamming their foot in the door with these two big characters, and I think they'll get the other one eventually. So Superman gonna jam the door open so that Batman can slip his way into the TV universe too. But the thing I know a lot of you are asking is, what about Tom Welling coming on the show, just reprising his role as Superman, just because it would be a really nice wink to the fans in the way that the Flash TV show did some things. So I'll say careful for spoilers from the Flash Season 2, because I'll be talking about that. They do things with the TV actors from previous series. John Wesley Shipp plays a character on the new TV show. The Supergirl TV show kind of does the same thing with previous actors, like it has the old Supergirl, it has Dean Cain, but what I think they're going to do with this new Superman person they're casting for Supergirl Season 2 is find someone that we probably haven't seen before. I know it sounds like a bummer, but you have to remember, Tom Welling just landed a new CBS series, and he's like the executive producer, so he's both starring in it and he's making it, which is like a Herculean task, so he barely has time for anything, let alone traveling to Vancouver to film on someone else's TV show for a couple weeks. So yes, I do think that they will find a place for Tom Welling to come into Supergirl, but it probably won't be as this version of Superman. What might be really awesome is that they did him as like a golden age version of Superman that was from a different Earth, like the way Jay Garrick is kind of like this old school version of the Flash compared to the Barry Allen version of the Flash that we know. So Tom Welling will probably end up on the TV show eventually. Don't worry about that. He's supposed to appear in the first 2 episodes, so he'll tee up like whatever the big conflict is of the season. Like we learn about Zoom in the first couple of episodes of The Flash Season 2. We'll learn about the big villain of Supergirl Season 2, so Superman sounds like he's going to be a part of that, meaning that he'll come back every once in a while, but he's not going to be there every single week. I feel like I can see you all nodding your heads in the background, like, well, yeah, the TV show's called Supergirl, it's not called Superman, so Superman isn't going to be there every single week. But because Superman existed during Supergirl Season 1, I think that this version of Superman will be that same character, it's just a different actor that's going to appear with his face on screen in the suit. So if you didn't watch Season 1, that version of Superman was fully realized. He had been Superman for a long time. The best way I could describe him is he's kind of like Tom Welling's version of Superman, you know, like he got the suit at the very end of that series. Imagine like 5 years after that, after he'd been Superman for a while, then Kara decides to step up, take the mantle. You have to remember that Supergirl of the new Supergirl TV show is very different from the Smallville version of Supergirl in the way that she became Supergirl, the way she came to Earth. So you kind of have to forget the plot of Smallville. Just consider Smallville as existing on a different Earth. Remember, we have the multiverse, so there's a number of different ways that they can surface characters now, because it sounds like since they're doing Superman, like they're really doing Superman, they're going to keep Kara's Earth separate from Earth 1. They never really said which Earth she was on. We kind of considered it Earth 3 because it was the third version of Earth we've seen. But here, getting into Flash Season 2 spoilers, I'm going to be talking about Jay Garrick, so here we go. So John Wesley Shipp became the original Jay Garrick, like the true version of Jay Garrick from Earth 3. So if they really wanted to, the producers, and the same producers make Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, all these DC TV shows, with the exception of Gotham, but they could put that Jay Garrick Flash on Kara's Earth if they wanted to, and just call that Earth 3. But they haven't said anything about that, so I'm just assuming that everybody's on a separate Earth, just to sidestep some of the logic issues, because if Kara was on Barry's Earth, then why wouldn't they talk to each other all the time? Like, it'd just be really hard for the writers of each of the shows to accommodate that. So I think we'll see more winking at the other characters. Like, Kara will talk about working with Barry, like, oh, my friend from another Earth, the Flash. She'll talk about him, but we'll only see him when the shows cross over. Like when we do the big 4-night crossover, then everybody will be on screen together. But they haven't really explained what the story of that's going to be, who the big villain is, like what the conflict is that requires everyone to be on screen together. The big oh shit moment that sets up the crossover. It's going to have to be some big multiverse problem that will require all of them to come together. Some big Justice Society story. And if you weren't sure what's kind of going on behind the scenes at Supergirl Season 2, they're moving to Vancouver, so it'll definitely be a little bit easier for everyone to cross over. But as far as I know, all the same actors are coming back. A lot of people were wondering if Callista Flockhart was coming back because she's the most expensive actor that Supergirl has. She gets paid way more than the other actors do. So unless they figure something out, she's not going to Vancouver. So Cat Grant is still a question mark. They haven't really said anything, but I'm assuming that everybody else is coming back. But there'll still be 23 episodes, they'll premiere in the fall, and they'll be on Mondays. So Supergirl will still be on the same time, on the same day. It'll just be on the CW instead of being on CBS. But if they're able to do Superman, just think about the other stuff that they can probably do now. I think a few of my complaints against this series were mostly due to the requirements of network television. It's just a lot harder for them to do really weird genre comic book stories on major networks than it is on fringe networks or cable. So think about some of the really weird things that they did during Flash Season 2, some of the really exciting weird things, like the way they pushed into the Speed Force. They got a little supernatural, but it's still very science fiction-y. I think now that Supergirl is on the CW, they'll be able to do more things like that. They'll have a little more freedom with the stories they tell in the way they tell them. So less texting Superman, more talking to Superman. The texting thing really did bug me. But what about the Kryptonian capsule at the end of the series? There was a big teaser implying a new character was coming from Krypton, but they didn't really explain it, and even the actress who plays Supergirl did not know who was in the capsule. The way they filmed it, all you see is just her looking at the capsule with an oh shit face, so nobody knows who's in the capsule. The producers were trying to decide. And my first thought is that they were going to bring Power Girl on. That's who she was going to be. She was going to be from the multiverse, but there was this plot point where Cat Grant promoted Supergirl inside her organization and said, find me a new assistant because you're not my assistant anymore. So I felt like the person in the capsule, whoever that was going to be the new assistant, meaning that it would be a female character. So Power Girl was just like the first biggest awesome character that you could think of. But also, before the big CW move, they were talking about having Supergirl cross over to the Flash. Like, the Flash came to Supergirl, so they're talking about this next season, Supergirl going to the Flash. But the showrunner said if she came on the Flash, she'd be wearing a different suit. So people were like, oh, he's probably talking about Power Girl. She'll just be from a different part of the multiverse. But that's still kind of up in the air. And now that Supergirl is on the CW, I think it'll be a little bit easier for them to do Supergirl crossovers. So just remains to be seen about that. I'm expecting them to drop a whole bunch of news at Comic-Con. They always bring a bunch of stuff to Comic-Con for all these TV shows. So the actors are all going back to work in a couple weeks. So we'll actually start hearing about people they're casting, stuff that's going on. So there'll be plenty more videos this summer about what's going on with The Flash, Supergirl, Arrow. So be sure to subscribe to get everything. Later tonight, I'm actually going to the Warcraft premiere, so I'll probably do a non-spoilery review video first, but some of you might not be able to watch it for a couple more days, so I'll wait to post my spoilery Easter egg review. But I've also got a Deadpool video that I'm going to post later tonight. He's just destroying X-Men Apocalypse, so I'm going to do a funny Deadpool kills the X-Men video. While you guys wait for my next video to post, you can click here for last night's Game of Thrones, and you can click here to learn all about what's going on with The Flash movie and The Flash Season 3. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.